All right, what's on the
Oh.
docket for our topic for the day?
What's the educational topic of the day?
Catering tips and tricks.
Welcome to Cue the Mic. I'm Darren Worth.
And I'm Randy Twyford.
And I'm Emma Durflinger, and this is episode 70.
We ain't got nothing for episode 70, Emma. I ain't got no funny sayings.
Thank
Just
goodness.
moving on. Hey, speaking of funny sayings, did you guys see on my Instagram page that my joke of the
No.
day? Because Friday was joke day, was National Joke Day, and I
Okay.
did a joke. Why does
was your
barbecue?
joke?
Why does barbecue get invited to all the parties? Because it's smoking hot.
Still trying to get it.
How do you
Oh,
not
come-
get it? Don't be
still
like
trying-
that.
I'm still trying to get why you introduced yourself as Randy Twyford and didn't say I'm Randy
The
Twyford.
lovely.
Thank you.
Well, it's just a give
Or
us now.
he goes, I'm the lovely Randy Twyford.
Thank you.
No, I don't know. I missed
Thank
up.
you.
It's like Paul Harvey not saying good day.
Well, that's true. So I am
Or
the
Randy
illustrious.
Twyford not saying of the morning.
I'm the
Of the
illustrious.
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 You want to know
Randy
what I
Twyford.
came up with this week? You want to know
What's
what
that?
I came up with this week? It was brilliant. I've shared
Oh,
this
boy.
with a couple people.
Let me make a note of that.
Okay, this was brilliant. Okay, and we never talk about politics, and we're not going to go political on this. I'm
Right.
going to make one statement, and then we're just going to go on. Okay.
Okay.
I know Emma's going to go. Oh my God, he's going to go there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Tread lightly.
I think this whole thing between the Democrats and the Republican, it's all about interpretation, right? So Francis Scott Key, years and years ago, I think it was the 1800s, it actually went into the Star Spangled Banner, but he wrote the land of the free and the home of the brave,
Right.
right?
Right.
Did you say I think that went into the Star Spangled Banner?
No, it went into the Star
anthem?
Spangled Banner. Sorry.
Sorry. The national
But,
anthem?
but he wrote, yeah. Well, right. Jesus.
Okay, sorry.
Christ.
Continue. I
Land
just
of the
don't wanna-
free, home of the brave.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The problem is the Democrats and the Republicans, they're just interpreting the word free differently, right? And so I'm just going to blame it on Webster for giving the word free multiple meanings. Okay, we're just going to blame it on Webster, right? Because free to one party is a different meaning than free to another party. Okay, that's just words to ponder on. We're going to leave it there. We're going to continue on.
All right.
Okay, next.
Next.
That's Darren's daily musings.
Okay. So what have you been up to this week?
I've been renovating a restaurant, if you can imagine that.
3 weeks?
3 more weeks.
Walk-in cooler is running.
You didn't get asphyxiated, did you, from all the epoxy and stuff on the floor?
No,
You were saying
that
it really
went away.
stunk.
We got that dissipated.
Dissipated.
So yeah. So we got that all. We got the walk-in cooler
Lord.
sealed, and so we got the walk-in cooler. We had the electrician in there and got it all wired up. And funny story: this electrician showed up and he was struggling a little bit because it was a little different wiring of supposedly normal. So my buddy Kyle Johnson, who's my HVAC guy, is setting up this walk-in cooler. Okay, kind of a side project for him. T-Rex barbecue, first time Jack qualifier this year. Is pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for him. So anyway, he's coming over, and the electrician, I could just tell he's having a bad day, right? guy that works for my electrician, having a bad day. And he's trying to finish this job. They think they're going to get it all done in one day. And he's got to wire the walk-in cooler, and he's got to wire the Ansel system and finish some Cat 5 cabling. Well, he wired, so they get it all done. The next day, Kyle comes to he pumps down the walk-in cooler overnight, comes to put Freon in, and the next morning, can't get this walk-in cooler to right. Can't get it done. He ends up spending 5 hours rewiring all the thing because it was wired all wrong.
Oh boy.
And the Ansel guy comes in the next morning, and I said, hey, the breaker's tripped back there because the fire alarm wants to keep going off. And he goes, well, the dumbass has wired that all wrong. Don't worry, I'll rewire it. So everything he touched, he wired wrong.
Holy shit.
And so I called the electrician, and I said, Brad, what the hell? Everything you touch go to shit. And he goes, well, there's a valuable lesson to be learned there, Darren. I said, what's that? And he goes, when a worker comes to work, don't chew his ass for 5 minutes at 7 o'clock in the morning before he goes to your job site. I'm going, yeah, that's probably a pretty good thing. And I said, so I paid for the guy to wire everything wrong all day long. And by the way, he forgot to do this and this and this. So anyway, it was fun. But, being a general contractor, we got the countertops in.
Great.
We're missing one piece of stainless trim. We got a couple, 3 or 4 punch lists on the electrical items. We got to balance the air system in the hood. We got to get the hot water heater operational, which I think is probably just turning it on. I don't know. We got a couple little plumbing things to do, but we got one sink
Right.
we got to plumb. But we keep coming up with other lists. Sherry walks in. She's cleaning up after, these contractors don't clean up after themselves. So
No.
yesterday I'm doing some final caulking and doing some stuff. And the epoxy guy come back and did some touch up on the floors. And so she's cleaning up, and, there's wiring everywhere. They strip the wires and just, even though there's 5 brooms sitting around, when they leave for the day, they can't seem to sweep it all up. So Sherry's going around doing all this stuff, and she's cleaning stuff up, and she looks up and she goes, hey, those vents are really bad from these bathroom fans. Can you take them vents down? I want to clean them. Took them down, and well, I guess we're just going to replace all those vents because when I took them down, they're just packed full of shit. And
Right.
so, well, let's just maybe replace the components. No, that doesn't work that way. So today I'm going to replace all the bathroom fans, hopefully. But of course, instead of just putting a box up there and putting screws into the studs, no. Why don't we install those by putting liquid nails all the way around
Holy
boxes
shit.
and installing that way? So, yeah, let's just make it as hard to uninstall as we possibly can. So, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Got the reciprocating saw on the 10-inch blade, so we're gonna have some fun with that. But other than that, got everything degreased on the kitchen doors. We're going to buy new kitchen doors, new swinging doors that go back into the kitchen.
Right.
Until we realized that the opening was a 1/2 inch less than standard.
Oh boy.
And so that's a 16-week lead time to get a 1/2 inch less door. So the other ones were quite a mess. So, just covered in grease. And so we're like, well, I guess I'll degrease. So I took all the parts off of them and threw them in a bucket full of degreaser and got them cleaned up overnight. And then yesterday I spent a couple hours outside with degreaser and a brush and getting them all cleaned back. So they're all sparkly new now. And so we'll get them installed tomorrow and get a sink, got the countertops in. And, so we're on the downhill slide and bringing back. We're going to start putting some kitchen equipment back in tomorrow. And
good.
At some point when I get the electrician back, I got to get a final inspection from the county, and hopefully we'll get that passed. And
now, when you have the final inspection by the county, do you have your electrician there at that same time?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just, it's kind of funny. I can tell how this final inspection is going to go because I called up anticipating, because I kind of know how these things go because I've been through tons of inspections at the other restaurants. And so I called the county guy the other day and I said, hey, I know you're going to want an occupancy permit or an occupancy sign that says how many people are allowed in this space, right? And that's based upon a calculation of so many people per square foot. I said, could you come up and measure for me about what that number is so I can get the sign made and I can have it hung for you when you show up for your final inspection, right? He goes, Darren, I ain't got time to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? He goes, just put a damn number on the wall. I don't give a shit. I'm like, what? He goes, I don't give a shit. Just put a number on the wall. I'm like, what? He goes, just put a number on the wall. I'm like, what number you want me to put? And he goes, I'll send you a calculator. I don't care. He says if it's a booth, it's 2 square foot per person. If it's a table, it's 15 square foot per person. Just get close. I'm not looking at that number. I don't care. And you're not going to get a fire inspection because you don't have liquor. Oh, okay. I see how this is going to work.
Yeah, no kidding. What you got to like that.
I know what you're going to do. You're going to walk in and you're going to go, does this break the electrical? I mean, he's going to trip a GFI and he's going to look to see if there's if we have GFI outlets next to the dishwasher and next to all the water sources and the
water sources, sure.
And do they trip? And he's going to walk that and he's going to say, see you later. Okay, fine.
You can live with that, can't you?
Yeah. Well, I'll do my own walkthrough, make sure. Yeah. So
you kind of know what they're going to be looking for, so do it ahead of time.
Well, yeah, that's all I'm trying to do, get in front of it all so I get it all
sure.
fixed and whatever. And what's funny, this restaurant is crazy. Being in the restaurant business, mice are always part of the restaurant business, right?
Sure.
Just old buildings and whatever. So when we tore out this restaurant, you could tell mice had been in the walls eating the insulation and whatever. So when we gutted this restaurant, we gutted everything, right? And so we've been working on this thing for 4 months? We tore out everything, not seen one sign of anything, not
really?
One sign of anything, because there's no food in this restaurant. There's nothing in there. There's no
sure.
reason for a mouse to be in this restaurant. So we had a friend over and Sherry and I were sitting in the kitchen where they came over and they were looking at this thing. And I'll be goddamn, a mouse ran in the middle of the fucking day. A mouse ran just walked right in front of us and right into the fucking wall in this little fucking hole in the wall. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Right. And we got we know there's old door sweeps, which are already on order to get the door guys coming out to fix and shim up this building and caulk the little, there's little crevices that we know
sure.
are on our punch list to get that all scaled up. But I'm like, are you shitting me? And so I went back to the guy that's been in there working, doing a lot of the work. And I'm like, have you seen a mouse? He goes, I haven't seen a damn mouse the entire time we've been in here. I'm like, are you shitting me? Did this fucker? And they've been leaving the doors open and shit
sure.
the whole time, just in and out with lumber and in and out with whatever. I'm like, have you seen anything? Nope. I'm like, yeah, one just walked in between us. 3 people standing there and one walked right in between us.
Oh, be damn.
Like, what the fuck?
Mice are so creepy.
Yeah. Well, he moved fast enough that I couldn't get this son of a bitch, but
I had one in my house.
I had to go get traps, and I'm like, that fucker cannot get out. If he comes out the same hole, he's dead. No, he wasn't there. He wasn't there later the afternoon, but today he's going to get the old peanut butter treatment. There's nothing to eat in that damn restaurant. So if he's there,
you bait him in.
Peanut butter.
Bait his little ass in.
There's nothing to eat there, so that peanut butter should smell awful good to him.
Yep.
I had a mouse last summer that came running through my living room in the middle of the day, and I caught Twyla's attention, and then mine, and then I screamed, and I asked my mom to come help me, and she's like, I'm busy, I can't, so I had to have somebody else come help me try to get it, which meant they tried to get it, and I cried in the corner because I freaked me out. They're creepy little critters, and we didn't even catch it, and then the next day, Twyla threw it up. She got it.
There you go. Atta girl.
Randy
Except
probably
it
never
had
has
some
to
poison.
deal with that out on the farm.
No, that's Orkin's got bait stations. We don't have mice. Have much mice. The Orkin guy does a really good job of getting them, and we very, very rarely see them. But when we really start seeing them is when the fall comes and they start harvesting corn
Yeah.
and beans.
Yep.
That drives the little bastards in, and
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'll knock
Same.
on wood. Orkin's got bait stations all over the place, and
Oh, yeah. Which
They-
we don't
they
have
do.
any of that at the new restaurant yet. We don't have it set up yet, which we
Right.
will as soon as we get food put in there. We'll get the bait stations all around.
but if I
the
start
outside.
seeing one running around, I get the notorious glue boards out. I like glue boards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do
I've
too.
done
That-
the glue boards. I've done the mouse traps. I did the the little poison boxes.
Right.
They really like those, except they
you
don't really
don't.
catch them.
You
No.
don't want the glue box because then the bastard's going to go somewhere else and die.
And then stink.
Oh, the glue
Right.
box, yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't
No,
want to ever
like-
use poison
well,
because
yeah.
the fucker's going to
Yeah,
go
it's
somewhere
poison
and
part.
die.
I learned that because it was set up. It had me convinced that they would get trapped in this little box, and they did not. They just chewed through the corner of it, and
Yeah.
then
They're notorious
You know, my dog
little
caught it.
bastards.
my dog got sick a little bit because she ate a mouse that was poisoned.
I
And
think
that
your
was
dog. I
fun.
think your dog gets sick if it drinks water.
Hey man, don't make fun of her like that. She's not water. Actually, that has happened, but it's fine.
Okay.
It was contaminated.
Enough of critters. This is not a mice episode.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of
What
gross,
else?
actually.
What else is going on? But we're on the downhill slide. By God, I'm hoping.
3 more weeks.
I'm hoping 3 more weeks. We always say 3 more weeks. Matter of fact, I was in Menards yesterday for the 3rd time. Yesterday.
That day.
that day, I'm sitting there I forgot something, and then I'm like, well, I might as well get this. Oh, let's get this and whatever. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, somebody yells at the aisle down me, 3 more weeks.
Do they really?
Oh, we had a
I'll be
Yeah.
goddamn.
We had a couple of comments on YouTube and stuff that say 3 more weeks.
Oh yeah, 3 more weeks. But by God, I'm hoping by the middle of the week this week, I'm hoping some food is hitting the griddle.
Good deal.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
I'm hoping it hits the griddle. We take a picture of it and throw that shit in the trash.
Nice. But
So anyway,
what's going on, Randy?
what are you
Well,
doing, Randy?
Well, we kind of had lost all my help, most of my help this week, which I knew was coming. Football practice started Wednesday, so Tuesday we kind of had a little going away for the guys and stuff. And but they're in camp for 2 weeks, and once they get done with camp, then they'll be able to work more. And 2 of them don't have class till noon every day of the week, so it doesn't help us with a food truck, but it sure is going to help us on prep work and helping what we're going to talk about, getting caterings out of a morning and stuff like that. That's going to be,
Of the morning.
it's going to
the
be,
morning.
that's going to be a
Sorry.
big asset to us and stuff. So,
Yeah,
and had a little
that's good.
generator problems on Friday, and so we're getting that taken care of. You work with some diversity of that, and
Adversity.
adversity. That's
Adversity.
right.
That too.
Yeah.
One day you'll get it right, and it's
Yeah,
going
I
to be
know.
crazy.
And so we had to haul a generator with us and stuff. So, but anyway, getting ready to go into heavy duty mega catering. I've got one day that I've got 3 caterings at lunch, and there's only 2 of us. So somehow we're going to have to shuck and jive to get the 3rd one covered, but we'll figure it out.
Need me to come down? I mean, I'm
I
not
was
really
gonna
doing
say.
it. I'm
You're
really
not
not
doing
doing
anything.
anything.
Yeah, you could do a delivery. Make sure you bring a van with you. Don't come in your.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you bring a van with you and stuff. And,
Well, I could. I could, Randy. I could bring my Tahoe because I've been told, that I made the mistake of letting Sherry ride in the Tahoe yesterday, which used to be her Tahoe, which is now my work truck.
Uh-huh.
And normally, I had to go pick up this generator, right? And so I said, let's just take the Tahoe. And that was a mistake because first, there's half a truckload of fucking work tools in the back. So it rattles a little bit, right? Which
Right.
I don't hear, but she does.
Right. You don't hear because you have.
And then I got
hearing
home
aids.
and I said, hey, can you move the Tahoe a little bit? And then she saw and she's like, Jesus Christ, you got goddamn caulking all over. You know, it'd been on my arm and got on the arm. And she's like, this son of a Tahoe, it's brand new. It's 20,000 miles. Got caulking. You're not driving this anymore. I'm like, okay, what am I going to drive? Well, I'm going to put you in the Bronco. And I said, I can't. Why? And I said, because there's not enough room to haul this shit. Well, I'm going to get you a new pickup then. I'm like, no,
I don't know if I support that theory.
just
No.
move on. Just don't move.
You got
my
detail
Don't you
shops
have a
up
truck?
there.
I have a truck, but I'm not. It needs to go, but I'm just not going to drive a dually around. I mean,
No.
I'm
Right.
too many places.
Don't you have
dually
detail
has to
shops
go.
up there in Des Moines that you could every now and then
What are you
just
going to
take that
detail? What's the sense in detailing it when it's going to look
It's just gonna
exactly
get-
the same way
In a week.
tomorrow? I got to get
Yeah.
the
Right.
restaurant open, and when I'm done
Yeah.
being the general contractor, it'll.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It'll go
saying.
back
When
to
you
normal.
get done doing all your shit in
When I
it.
get done, when I get done being a general contractor, right? Then all the tool bags will disappear, the caulking
Yep.
guns will disappear. And then, I told somebody that the other day. I said, I'm looking so forward to taking the general contractor hat off and getting back into the restaurant hat,
Right.
right? Because I guarantee the restaurant hat is so much easier than the general contractor.
Hell
hat.
yes.
So much less frustrating. If you think you want to own a restaurant, just go be a general contractor for about 6 or 8 weeks, or 2 months or 3 months.
Or just ask Darren, should I own a restaurant? He'll tell you no.
Oh,
Then
I
save you
have.
all
you
that
know.
hassle.
I've asked.
Yeah. He'll save you all that hassle.
Ask Randy what I tells every time. Randy's brought that up to me 3 or 4 times, and I tell him, "Hey, turn around, just take your pants down. Let me kick you square in the nuts. It'll feel a lot better."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
I
don't.
just talked to Blaine at Porky Butts was putting the hard pressure. He's done it 3 or 4 times. Hey, do you think I should do this? I'm like, no, 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 no. And then he'll call back and the next morning and say, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
So why are you so good at telling everybody no, but you just can't tell yourself no?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know why that is.
yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Because is it like trial and error? You're like, let me take the fall for you guys. I'll see how this goes. And when it's a shit show, I'll handle it. You guys don't need to worry.
My wife told me this week, she sat me down. Right
Oh, boy.
after, Russ, our sauce guy,
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Russ, the guy that started Russ and Frank's sauce, finally died of cancer. He'd been battling that shit for 10
For
years.
years, hadn't he?
Anyway, and we bought the sauce company years ago when he moved. So Smokey D's sauce was years ago. Story time. When I worked at Rouen, Russ and I worked at Rouen together for 17 years. And when I was getting in the barbecue business, Russ was getting in the sauce business. So him and his next door neighbor created this sauce recipe, and they were going to take it to market. And when he got ready to market it, Frank, who lived next door to him, really didn't have a lot of money. He had a bunch of kids, didn't have a bunch of money to take this thing to market. And so Russ says, hey, I want to start this LLC. And Frank says, fine. He says, but I'm still going to leave your name on it. So they started Russ and Frank's sauce company, but Russ owned it by himself. And Russ took this sauce and really worked that sauce company, man. He went into the local grocery stores. He did demos. I mean, he just really worked that sauce. And so when we started the barbecue business, we just used his sauce. And it was on our tables up until 2011, probably, as Russ and Frank's. We told the story. Hey, I used to work with this guy. Why is it Russ and Frank's? He was in the sauce business. We were in the barbecue business. Why would I create my own when one of my best friends was in the sauce business, right? So we utilized that sauce. And then at some point when we became Smokey D's, we bought the sauce company from Russ, and then we rebranded it as Smokey D's. And so even today, our gallon jugs of sauces still say Russ and Frank's on them because we sell that to other
Yeah, I
barbecue
was gonna say.
places and they put their own label over the top of it. And
Sure.
if
Boy,
you,
some people even still use the Russ and Frank's label, don't they?
no, we've pretty much
Oh,
got them all converted over to Smoky D's
oh,
label. But,
there for a
you know, we
while. They were
still have,
still.
in the file area, I probably still got 5,000 Russ and Frank's labels. So
Yeah.
sitting here, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to throw them away now. But
Right.
anyway, so long story short, Russ passed away, and it was kind of funny. I talked to a mutual friend of ours out in California, and well, not a mutual friend, a good friend of Russ's that he did a bunch of acting with out there because Russ got it when he retired. He got into the acting circuit, so he's been on NCIS and Two Broke Girls, and
I forgot
just as
about
a
that.
second,
That was hilarious.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
The
He'd been
stuff he
on
would do.
a whole acting career really as a
I didn't know
secondary
that.
guy. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh
Huh.
yeah, I'll send you pictures of Russ. Russ has
It's
been
hilarious.
behind the scenes on a lot of sitcoms. So anyway,
That's all.
and the only reason, funny story, the only reason I think Russ ever did that was because on an acting set you get 3 free meals a day. Seriously, I told him that. I said, Russ, I think that's the reason you did it. So anyway, I talked to Don, a friend of Russ's, and he was with Russ 2 days before he died, and they were talking, and Russ knew he was dying. And he said, you know, all he could talk about was, you know, Darren and Smokey D's and how successful we've become, but how we had making that move to carry on the sauce and carry
Right.
on the
I'll
sauce
be damned.
legacy and made it to what it was today. And he had talked about, you know, when he died, his wish was that his ashes, he wanted to be cremated, but he
Right.
wanted his ashes brought back to Iowa and
Uh-huh.
spread in a trout stream in northern Iowa because he used to come back. He always loved to trout fish with a few friends of his. And I went up with him once, but he used to go to northern Iowa and trout stream and trout fish. And so his wife is making that they're going to make
That
that trip and they're going to spread his ashes in his favorite trout stream in northern Iowa. So Russ
I'll
is
be
coming
damned.
back to Iowa. So yeah,
I was wondering
kind of
if they were going to
excited
bring him
about that.
back.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to hear if we're going to do if they're going to do some sort of memorial or whatever. And if they are, I'm going to bring back the Russ and Frank sauce. So
Right.
I want to label a bunch of Russ and Frank sauce, and I either want to sell it in the restaurant or sell it online with all the money going to whatever they want it to go to.
Sure.
So I want his friends that maybe have never had the sauce or had it in the past. I want them to experience Russ and Frank sauce again because it's the same exact sauce. It's made the same exact way.
Right.
And I still have all these labels. I want them to experience
That's a
that.
great
So,
idea.
yeah, we're kind of excited about spreading that out and whether we put it on the website or in the restaurant or whatever as a tribute to Russ, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of excited about that.
Ooh.
So trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
He gave her
But
a hell
great
of a
guy.
fight, that's for sure.
Oh my God, he got over it, and I mean
I pulled on.
he fought her like a trooper to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with him really only twice a year for the last 10 years. We'd go out and cook a barbecue contest, and he was always there. And I watched him, you know, one year he'd be really bad. I'm like, boy, he's not going to make it past another 2 or 3 months. Next year I go back and he was normal. And then he was bad. And I mean, they did everything. They sucked all his, you know, they took his bone marrow and they'd take it totally out of his body and he would have zero tolerance. He couldn't be around anybody. And then they'd bring it back. And,
Huh.
you know, I mean, he'd been through every experimental thing. So sad to lose him, but
Yeah.
he's going to be in a better place.
Sure.
He's not going to fight it anymore, but his sauce legacy will definitely move on.
Good deal. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yep. Lost a good one, but
Yeah.
in the end of that story, Sherry told me she's been telling me we're done after this, and she said, "Get this restaurant open. The other restaurants, you know, they kind of run themselves. We don't necessarily have to be involved in daily operations." And she said, "Get this son of a bitch open, and we're going to go spend some money. We're going to go, you know, we're going to go." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "No, we're just going to go do some things, some What are we going to do?
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to go have some fun.
We're going to do it. There you go.
So we're going to go have some fun. Don't know what we're going to do, but I'm not going to be out of the restaurant business by any means.
No.
I'm just not allowed to open any more concepts, I think.
I'm glad you said. Yeah, I took the I think and the wink. Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't listen to the podcast, so no, she'll be fine.
So you can get by with it. So.
That pulled on the heartstrings, man. I didn't.
Great, Russell.
The old Russ.
All right, what's on the docket for our topic for the day?
What's the educational topic of the day?
Catering tips and tricks.
Yeah, so I get a lot of these messages. I get a lot of these messages today about catering because a lot of our listeners, they're not necessarily certified caterers. Some are, some aren't. Some do a little bit of catering, and I don't care whether you're certified or not. It's all about feeding people, right?
Right.
We want you to do it the right way, of course, even whether you have a catering license or not. It's all about serving good food to people and being safe about it so you don't make anybody sick. I don't care whether you got the piece of paper sitting on the wall or not.
Hell no.
Who cares?
We all started without one.
We all started without one, right?
Yeah,
Just
no
don't
shit.
Get caught. Didn't hear that, but
no.
Anyway, there's a lot of questions because people, I think, when you first start out catering, it's like competition barbecue, right? The world is moving 100 miles a minute. When you see us all pull into our first barbecue contest, we got 100,000 more things than we need. We look like Randy talked about the first time they pulled in. They look like the damn Clampetts.
Yep.
The Beverly Hillbillies pulling in. And so when you're catering, you think you have to have a zillion different things to get started. And the world is moving and you think all this stuff has to be done at the same time. And how do you get it done? When realistically, you can sit in your chair most of the time. Like we do at competitions now. There's just, it slows down and the better we can, to me, if we can help shorten that learning curve for people, then we probably accomplish what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal. That's why we still do this podcast, is if we can make things easier for people without them having to spend a lot of money taking classes and whatever. If we can, we have no class, right, Randy?
No, we're very classless. We've been accused of that several times.
Yeah. Emma will confirm that.
My biggest thing on the catering is organization. I mean, if you don't have your shit together, it's going to eat you alive. And and from the very beginning of when that person calls and has an inquiry, but on the same hands, what are you going to do with that inquiry after they call? I hear so many stories of first of all, the caterer doesn't return phone calls. And if you don't return phone calls, you're out of luck. You should return your phone calls within the day, or an email or a text message. You should get back with a customer in that day. That's my rule of thumb. Because I hear so many horror stories of people saying, I called somebody and I never heard from them for 3 to 4 days, and we got to get moving on this. But and something we'll get into is you got to set your pricing. So don't just go by what everybody else is charging. You know what your food's worth. So knowing what your food's worth and knowing your margins, then you can determine what your cost is. But remember, you're going to be multiplying it. It's not like selling one sandwich.
Wait, Randy. Let's back that up. You know what your cost is. You're not going to determine your cost. You know what your cost is. You can determine what you're going to charge.
Exactly.
Okay. Right. Go ahead.
But don't just go by what all the people that are already doing catering around, what they're charging, and thinking, well, if they're making money, if I charge that, I'm going to make money. You don't know that. I mean, I check we check our competition quite a bit if you can, and sometimes it's like, what the fuck are they doing? They can't be making money, and if we can't make money, we might as well not go through the effort of it, you know. But the biggest thing is
Right.
make sure you're putting out a good quality product. And one of the things I think, and I know we kind of disagree a little bit on this, Darren, is with software to keep you organized. And there's a company out there called Total Party Planner,
Oh,
and that's all we use. And
And
if there's some,
it's all we use. It's all we
Yeah.
use.
but you just have some integration issues there. And
yeah.
I don't
It's
have any integration issues. I just
Total-
want them to
Yeah.
them to be more.
right,
Yeah, Total Party Planner is it's like they're still stuck in like they're a couple years behind
I would agree.
in technology.
No,
Like
they're
that's
20
I
they're
think
20
yeah.
years behind.
Yeah. That's the problem with them. It's not necessarily
they're still a great piece
Yeah.
of software.
cuz even when
And
you
it's
look
reasonable.
at their cuz even when you look
Very
at their
reasonable.
website, like from the back end, their platform is so outdated. Like it works, but it's stuck in the past.
But
That's the
nuts
problem
and
with it.
bolts operationally, Total Party
It's-
Planner, I will tell you, is the best operational catering software out there.
Yeah. Because when I worked
Period. Trust me, I've studied them for 5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, because
In-depth,
when I was
all of
working
them.
for Darren, we looked at all sorts of stuff, and
And
nothing,
you can
nothing
and you can
compared.
input your cost into that if you want to
Mm-hmm.
use it fully. And we use it as much as we can this way, but put on our costs in there of what a 5.3 ounce portion of pulled pork is going to cost. And then, and there's a point in there you can go and it'll calculate and show, okay, here's what your cost was, here's what your profit is, and here's what you made, you know. And you can even use, it's got for doing sales calls and things like that. I don't use that, where you can keep notes and stuff. The biggest thing is keeping notes of your conversations you have with your customers or your prospective customers. You say you're going to do something, make sure. Most people have a better memory than I do, but there's places in Total Party Planner you can write down, type in all your notes and stuff of what you talked about. You said you were going to do this, they want to do that, and then when you get, and you may be doing this 6 months ahead of time. I'm booking weddings now. I've got a wedding booked a year and a half out.
Holy
And
crap, Randall!
yeah, we've got a wedding booked a year and a half out.
That's
So,
impressive.
so here's my only problem with Total Party Planner at all.
yeah,
And
let's
I've
hear
had
it.
a lot of conversations with John, who used to own it. Okay, now they've sold a couple of years ago. They sold to a big conglomerate.
Did they really? I
My
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they sold out to a big conglomerate. So yeah, oh yeah. John's sitting on his oceanfront condo in Jupiter, Florida. Okay, and
Right.
I have a conversation with him about once a month. Right. So he sold the whole thing out. The big problem is we have a big desire from customers to do their own online ordering. And, we do a huge amount of catering. We'll do well over $3 million worth of catering this year. And so we're a huge volume, and we have customers that wanted, and we do a lot of transactional catering. We don't do a lot of weddings is not a huge part of our portfolio. Business caterings, the 25 to 50 person business catering every day. We'll do 15 to 20 of those every single day in and day out.
Wow.
Now, we do a lot of 750,000 person caterings all the time, but those drop off caterings are our bread and butter, right? They just happen. I do 50 of those every day at lunch if I could. And we have a lot of those customers that just want to be able to go in the day before or 2 days before and say, hey, I want to order a 2-meat, 2-side buffet. I want this. I want to pay for it, boom, and I want to do it. Okay. And we don't have that solution. Well, we have a little bit of a solution. It's very we're having to go through a third party to get that solution, and then we have to manually enter it in, which causes room for errors. We have customers that are
Yes.
doing the same thing, and they're going through Easy Cater, which has a great solution for doing that, but it cost us 15% for our customer to do that. So that's my frustration. So we've looked at other solutions which have great online solutions. So Honeycart has a great online solution. And Honeycart's building their infrastructure on the backside where it isn't quite as great as what Total Party Planner has, but it's, their front side's really good. Their backside's not as robust as Total Party Planners
Yes.
from a costing
That,
standpoint,
yeah.
from whatever. So it's like want the best of both worlds and trying to
Yeah.
get the best of both worlds. Right?
What's your thoughts, Darren?
Weren't you working with somebody on building one?
Well,
Or did I
no,
make that up?
no, I tried to, and I work with Andrew.
Oh.
Andrew's a listener. Andrew's a listener to
Hi,
the
Andrew.
thing. Yeah. Hi, Andrew. Yeah, come on, we can get her done. Yeah, trying to get it because it's really the first thing. Who's going to get it done? Who's going to get it
Yeah.
done? Who's going to give me a full end-to-end solution that gives me what we know?
Right.
Because you get it done, I will take it to market myself. I would love to build one myself and get it done because I don't need all these bells and whistles, but I do need the back end. I need the costing associated with it. We need to be able to put a cost, whatever. And that's the problem from a larger scale.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm only going to do 5 caterings a week, I just need to keep track of my shit, and I can keep track of that on an Excel spreadsheet. But I think back to the podcast and forget about all this software. Randy said you can keep track of it on an Excel spreadsheet, but you got to return the phone call. Randy says return within a day. I'm a return within an hour or two, right?
Right.
Now, I've got support staff to do that. So, but when I'm doing it, even if that return phone call is, hey, I got your message, I'm out on a job, can I return your phone call first thing in the morning? Right?
Yeah,
Just the
there you
phone
go.
call or the email. It's just touch base with a customer. Find out, is it an
That's-
immediate
yeah.
need? Right? It's just the touch base. It's just the touch base. It doesn't have to be the answer. It doesn't have to be the solution. It's just the touch base.
The acknowledgement.
Most important. If
Yeah.
you acknowledge that you got it, you can say whatever
Exactly.
you want to say, right? And the answer is, hey, I'm prepping a big catering right now. Hey, I'll be back to you in the morning, but then get back to them in the morning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can play email tag with them, whatever, as long as they know that you're interested. Then you can drag them along
And
from a customer.
I think that carries out with everything because, like, when I was running Smoky D social media, I had the same mindset because people just want to be heard. Like, that's the entire thing. They just
Exactly.
want to know that you've recognized that they've reached out. No one wants to feel ignored. So, yeah,
Right.
even if it's a DM or in whatever it is, just giving them like the hey, thanks for reaching out. I'll let whoever needs to know, or I'll get back to you on this, kind of thing.
Like Grandma yesterday that wanted to talk to Darren about the fish and chips that left the voicemail in accounting. And I called back Grandma and said, hey, I hear you want to hear about the fish and chips. She goes, well, I was just wondering what comes with that fish and chips. And I said, well, you should have, it comes with coleslaw and French fries. She goes, well, that's what I thought. And I ordered it and it had a mac and cheese in there too. And I said, well, ma'am, I am so glad it came with a mac and cheese because it wasn't supposed to be, but I'm glad that it came with everything plus rather than forgetting something. So I'm glad that mistake was in your favor. Oh, it was really good mac and cheese. I'll order it next time.
Well, and here's my thought on a call like
See?
that, Darren. Here, you call Grandma back. So when she goes down to the local church and they have their card party, every Wednesday afternoon, she's going to
Exactly.
make the comment that guy, the guy that owns that Darren Worthboy, he returned my phone call to me, and I really appreciated that and talked to me about, and everything. So.
I got that
Yeah.
this morning. That made me feel the most. That I was walking out of breakfast this morning, right? I was walking out of breakfast this morning. There's a guy sitting next to the bar, and he's sitting by himself. He's not doing shit, right? He's just sitting by himself. Hasn't murmured a word, right? We sit at the bar for breakfast. feel like I'm getting too far away here. Maybe I'm slouching. Anyway, I walk by and he turns around to me as I'm walking out the door. And he goes, you guys do a great job. I said, I appreciate that. He goes, I feel like you're one of the only places that cares about the customer anymore.
There you
And I'm
go.
like,
That's worth $1 million.
I'm like, wow, I appreciate that because that's kind of what we try and
Yeah.
that's my message is I don't give a shit about what we think about. Just care about the customer. Just think about the customer. Just
Exactly.
constantly
That's the same
think
way
about
here.
don't worry about the cost. Don't think about whatever. Just think
That's
about
exactly.
just everything you do. Just think about the customer. We'll take care of the back of the house. We'll take care of all that other shit. Just make it right with the customer. Make it right with the customer. We'll deal with all the other nonsense behind the bullshit scenes. Just think about the customer.
Right.
Just make it right with the customer.
That,
right?
oh
Make
yeah.
them feel good. Make them feel good.
And that's like the best marketing you can do. If you just treat people the way that, the golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated, kind of thing, that's going to go so far, so much farther than paying loads of money for social media campaigns and ads and all of that, because that's you promoting yourself versus a customer promoting you. You know what I mean? So it's a little more authentic and it's much more important.
Well, I had a
marketing manager.
I had a call this week. A lady, she said, I'm checking around, getting pricing. She says, we're really interested in you. My daughter's getting married next year. And she says, so I went through our menu and our pricing, and I followed up with a menu, sent it to her. And while I was talking to her, I said, are you dealing with a wedding planner? She goes, no. She says, I'm doing it all myself. And I said, well, started giving her a few pointers. I said, I'm not a wedding planner either, but I've done hundreds of these weddings. Here's some things you might want to look at. And then she started asking questions about this and about that. And when we got done, she goes, I'm not sure we'll go with you, but she says, I'm going to try to convince the kids to do it because you've been more helpful than anybody else I've called. They just give me prices and hung up. And she said, you were willing to talk to me and kind of explain some stuff. And I always leave it. If you have any questions, you got my phone number.
Yeah.
Give me a call or an email or a text. And she was very appreciative of it. So the moral of the story is like you said, Emma, treat people like you want to be treated and get back with them. Because there's times I'm like, why are we getting so many caterings? And then I start talking to people and they're like, nobody calls us back. I'm like, well, this old fat guy can.
Yeah.
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 I'll never understand the not getting back to someone.
Too busy, Emma. They're too busy. But you know what?
That's the whole thing. Like, if you're a business,
exactly.
I don't know. That too busy shouldn't be that's a pretty lame excuse.
My thought is, if you're too busy to turn people back, you're going to have time to call people back because you're going to lose business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
So.
Huh. So there's the key. Stay in contact with your customers.
Yeah, stay in contact with your people. So what's your thoughts, Darren? If you were to start off again in catering, what would, and you know what kind of what you know now then, what would be some of your first things you think somebody ought to do if they're going to start into catering?
Well, I think first you have to understand, first and foremost, you have to understand portion sizes and you have to understand shrinkage of meat.
Okay, explain that a little bit more.
Okay, so portion sizes. So you have to understand how much people are going to eat on a plate. Okay, so we run into this all the time. Okay, and we've talked about this a million times, but I think it's important. We're going to talk about 1,000,001. So our standards, and we have heavy portions. Okay.
Yes.
We have heavy portions. If I'm sending out a 1 meat, 2 sides, right? I'm sending out 5 1/3 ounces portions of meat, and I'm sending out 2 6-ounce portions of sides. Okay. Now, personally, if I'm doing that all over again, I'm sending out 5 1/3 ounces of meat, and I'm sending out a 6-ounce portion of any starchy side, mac and cheese,
Right.
potato casserole, anything that every mashed potatoes, anything that's a starchy that everybody's going to take. And I'm going to send 3 to 4 ounces out sides of anything like beans and
Green
a
beans and such
vegetable
like
salad, green beans, whatever. I'm going to be 3 to 4 ounces. Now we got in
Right.
this bad thing of we started sending out, and we send out way too much food. And I've tried to undo that. And then our catering department kind of redoes it because people like, we'll deliver these 25-person caterings and they'll go, why is this pan different than this pan? Right. And we're like, instead of just selling it as, hey, these pans aren't going to be the same size because people eat more of this. Hey, instead of saying, we've given you a little bit more mac and cheese because people eat more.
Right.
Instead of saying, we've given you more of this one than this one, they'll say, we've given you less of this one because, well, people don't want to hear they've given you less.
Yeah.
Less.
No one
You've
wants
got
to
to
hear
sell
that.
it as we've given you more.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's all about marketing, right? It's all about marketing. But if you take that, and so if we do a 2 meat, 2 side, we send 3 ounces and 3 ounces
Correct.
of every meat, and then we'll do the 6-ounce. But if I take a plate, and I think
Hey,
this
wait a
is the
second.
most
Wait a
important.
second. Question. If your
Yes.
original portion is 5.3, why don't you send 10?
Well, try and put that on a plate because
Okay.
you're gonna split it, right? So
Right.
think about what a person's going to eat. So if I send 10, so think about just from a weight standpoint. So you take about 5 1/3, which is 1/3 of a pound. And now I send 6 ounces and 6 ounces. That's 12 ounces plus 5. That's 17 ounces. Okay, so that's
Over a pound.
that's over a pound. Now add a bun, which weighs, probably 6 ounces, maybe 5 ounces, let's say. So now I'm 1.5 pounds almost. So are you going to sit down and eat 1.5 pounds of food?
No. No. Not even your
are you gonna eat
construction guys or
pound?
your farmers.
Not even the construction
That-
guys are going to eat 1 pound. So you have to kind of lay that out into
I agree.
perspective. And the way I like to lay that out in perspective is I like to take a plate I'm going to serve my catering on. Right. So you can serve a 10-inch plate or a 9-inch plate or whatever. And most people, like when we serve a catering, I think we're actually on a 9-inch plate. I think maybe we're on a 10-inch 3-compartment plate. Okay.
We're on
but
a
we're
10.
on a foam plate. But you're on a 10. Maybe we're on a 10-inch foam.
Yeah.
Right. Plate. Now, if we're on a fancy wedding, we're on a 10-inch 3-compartment plastic, a heavier plastic plate.
Sure.
Okay. If we're going
Sure.
to something that's a little fancier. But I want you to take beans, and I want you to take 6 ounces of bean. I want you to take a 6-ounce scoop, fluid volume scoop, which a lot of things weigh the same, fluid versus weight. So a lot of times when I'm talking ounces, I'm talking fluid. Now meat, I'm talking by weight. When I'm talking sides, I'm talking like fluid. I want you to take a 6-ounce scoop, and I want you to try and put a scoop of beans in there. I guarantee you can't fit any more than 3 ounces in that compartment.
Exactly.
But we send 6 ounces out, right? Now, like potato casserole, you can scoop potato casserole and it will mound up, and you can fit full 6 ounces on.
Right.
Mac
right.
and cheese, depending on if your mac and cheese is runny or if it's thin, you might be able to get it up. You might be able to mound it up. You might. So on stuff you can mound up, you're going to be able to fit more.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you can't. And if they take a bunch of mac and cheese on the big portion, that means they can't fit meat somewhere else. So think about the amount of food you can fit on that plate without it collapsing.
Let me
And
ask
we
you this.
understand the people that come through the buffet line are going to eat a shit pot full of food. But then you're going to get the dieters that are going to come through. and they're just going to eat a little bit of each, right? And some people aren't going to take beans. So it's all of perspective. Just go through. And the more experience, I would say, if you're serving caterings, always take notes. Always take notes. Take how many plates, or don't count plates because plates stick together. Take count your forks, your disposable table service. Count how many people come through the line. Count those number of people. Count how much meat you sent out. Count how much meat. Count how many sides, whatever. Because it's not an all-you-can-eat buffet. Now you want to have so 10% can still come through.
Right.
But as long as you have enough for everybody to go through once, that's what they're paying for, right?
Hey, I got a question. You were talking about loading plates up with potatoes and meats and stuff. How do you set up your buffet, your serving lines? Do you have a certain order that you use? I know we do.
Always a certain line. So we're going to put our plates up front. Now,
right.
we put our forks up front. Some people put the forks at the end, and I'm fine with either way. But we always, we'll put like our beans first and then our potatoes. And then if we have buns on there, then we're going to put buns. If we're serving like a cornbread, I'm going to put that afterwards, but you'll always put your meats. So put your cheaper meats first. So your chicken and your pork are going to be your first of your meats. And then, your brisket or whatever. If you're doing burnt ends, they go further to the end. If you're doing ribs go like over by the dessert table.
Yeah.
Right? Because
exactly.
if you and some customers I don't fight with them.
Yeah.
But some customers, when you go, they're like, nope, we want the meat first. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just here to tell you, you're probably going to just inform them. You're probably going to run out of meat and you're going to have a lot of leftover sides. And some customers go, why is that? And I'm like, because they're going to fill up their plate full of meat and you're not going to have very many sides. I'm just here to warn you this. Just you can set it up whatever way you want. Well, we like to do it that customer. Way. Okay, fine. I told you. You're the customer. And some people will go, I never thought of it that way.
Exactly.
But, get it.
Well, I'll be the one to tell you. I'd never thought of it that way.
Have them get their plates full of sides first. Because sides are cheap, meat's expensive.
For some reason, we do the same thing, huh?
And
it's crazy how that works.
Yeah, crazy how that works, isn't it?
Like when Haley got married, we did Italian, right? Haley wanted Italian, so she wanted lasagna and chicken Alfredo, and so we did all the salad and all this stuff. But I knew everybody was going to ask about burnt ends, so I did burnt ends, clear at the end of the buffet line with a sign that said, "I knew you would ask." Right. And so we did burnt ends, and I didn't even tell Haley we were doing it. And we did burnt ends. And by God, at the end of the night, we had one burnt end left in the pan.
Is that right?
Nobody wanted to take that last burnt end.
Yeah. So setting up your buffet line, how you set up your buffet line has a big effect on your food consumption.
Yeah.
Oh, you bet. And I mean, what's the sense
Everything has a purpose.
What's the sense in setting the bun at the end of the line if you're going to put meat on the bun, right?
Exactly.
That means they're going to take more meat, right? There's no sense in putting the bun at the beginning if it's going to be in the way of the side dishes. So let them get their side dishes first and then give them a place to put their bun. Just think about the customer. Think about when they're going through the line. And also, even if you're in the kitchen, right? And this is the way I've always acted even from day one. If you're preparing, let's say you're in the kitchen getting your utensils ready, right? Getting ready to go down this buffet line. So you're in the kitchen, you got to prep up, you're trying to get everything gathered, your plates and everything. I'll grab that thing and I'll walk myself like I'm walking down that buffet line myself.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll just put that piece of paper on the wall and I'm like, oh, what do we got here today? Oh, we've got beans and mac and cheese. So I'll go, okay, well, first I'm going to need a plate. I'm going to need some napkins, forks. Okay, here's my plates. Here's my napkins. Here's my forks. Oh, beans. Okay, well, I need a slotted spoon. Oh, it's a double-sided line. I need 2 slotted spoons. And I'm going to need, I'm going to pasta salad. Okay, that's a regular spoon. Oh, we need some buns. Okay, here, let me grab all my buns. And if you walk yourself, cornbread, how am I going to pick that up? Well, I need a tongue on each side for that. Oh,
I do that every day still.
And so if you just, instead of reading what you think, walk yourself down that buffet line And if you walk yourself down that buffet line, you'll never, ever make a mistake. You'll never
I do
just
that.
walk yourself down the buffet line every day.
On Total Party Planner, it generates when I
What
put
you
an
think
order
you
in.
need.
No, I put in what I need, but even then, I don't use that part. When I'll be in the kitchen, I'll be like, okay, need 2 spoons for the potatoes, 2 slotted spoons for the beans. I'll go through and it doesn't. Then you don't get surprised.
Right. And if you're catering, always carry in your van or your vehicle, always carry a little small box that has a couple extra spoons, a couple extra tongs, a couple extra a pack of napkins, a pack of plates, a pack of whatever you're delivering
Exactly.
in, always have your emergency box.
Right.
Because
Yep.
if you get there and somebody, and we always have extra stuff, but always, if you run into an emergency, there's nothing worse than having to go back somewhere and, oh my God, I just dropped a stack of plates, or hey, I just ran out of
Yeah.
napkins. Don't worry, I got you right here. Or I've been out at the events and another caterer will come out and say, oh my God, we forgot our napkins. Don't worry, I got you. Right. Or I was with somewhere last week and they come back and said, oh my God, we don't have any sauce pumps. Don't worry, I got you. Boom, here. How much? Don't worry, no charge. I maybe have the same problem some other time. Just that type of things, but walk through that whole process. Man, we're
Yeah.
already at an hour. We're going to have to
I
start
know.
making these marathons because these are going to be continued ones because we never even got
Yeah.
to what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, the stuff we really wanted to talk about, we never got to. So,
But we're going
I
to
think
next
this is
week.
all valuable information. Like, I don't want us to feel like we didn't. I think this is all important stuff.
Don't worry, we're going to continue
Reminders.
this one.
yeah, we'll
We're going
continue
to
this.
continue. We're
We
going to
have
continue.
discussed
We're going to continue
team.
this one next week.
Yeah.
We're going to get further into the kitchen and the process of the tips and tricks of this whole catering about about this prepping in advance and kind of how do you deal with these caterings so that you're not moving 100 miles a minute, and how to make yourself efficient, and how do you get this stuff from you to the customer so the food's in great shape, but not everything has to be done all at the same time.
Right.
You don't have to have this huge smoker to cater for 100 people.
No.
I mean, I think I could probably cater for 250, 300 people on a damn CTO pretty damn
I know
easily.
I could.
It's just a matter of how do you get that done. Just
Yeah.
because we have big smokers doesn't mean we need big smokers.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of getting it done. So, and I think a lot of people, when they cater on small scale events, they're just working really hard and they probably don't have to. And hopefully we can get some insight and give them some insight of how do we make that? How do we help them do that?
And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, where do they need to put that down at, Emily?
What?
Emily.
Emma.
Yeah,
Really?
Emma. Excuse
Really,
me.
Randy?
Sorry.
I've known you for a long time, man.
I'm sorry. I didn't
My
read
name
your
has
name.
been the same. That's
So
okay. It's cool.
Okay.
Leave them in the comments on YouTube or send us an Instagram DM or leave them in comments there, Facebook messages, all of the things. You can just, Or you
So
can
that
email
can gear
Dan.
us up some stuff for next week.
Yeah. And I think we've kind of discussed this might become like a little bit of a series here in the next couple of weeks. It's just giving you guys all the tips and tricks that we can. So load them up.
Until it becomes a series of, hey, we got a breakfast restaurant open and here's the horror stories that we ran into, and Darren got pissed off. Darren got pissed off and threw eggs Benedict all across the kitchen because somebody didn't do something right. We'll get into that segment.
Yeah. In 3 weeks.
Very Gordon Ramsay of you.
But
In 3 weeks.
The good thing is
Until
that's
then.
why Darren designed the kitchen that the walls are smooth and we can take a pressure washer and wash them right down the drain. So he thought ahead to this stuff.
There you go.
He's always thinking.
Always thinking.
Always
that's
thinking.
For sure.
All right.
That's right.
Well, that was episode 70 of Cue the Mic. If you guys haven't already, follow us on social media at Cue the Mic Pod or find us on YouTube at Cue the Mic Podcast. Leave comments, subscribe, follow, do all the things. We're Randy, take it away.
Boom. Out of here. Finished. Done. Adios.
Boom.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios.
Maybe.